Hi, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about how to grow your mitochondria and how to prevent the damaging of the mitochondria. And in this way, we will understand about all these aspects related to the mitochondrial health and what is the benefit of the mitochondria. Let's understand about that. So first of all, we will understand about the introduction. So the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the every cell. So it means the powerhouse of the cell, and it is important for the aerobic respiration. So remember, electron transport chain, Krebs cycle, and the fatty acid beta oxidation, the oxidation of the fat, also trigger via a mitochondria, and in the case of that things, the metabolism will lead to produce more ATP, and that ATP is our need. So remember, in this way every cell requires the energy through aerobic respiration, because we are living in the normoxic condition, the 21% oxygen in our environment, which that prefer more aerobic respiration as compared to the past time when the hypoxia occurred. So the mitochondria is basically double membrane organelle, which that is crucial role for production of the ATP, while other also function, but we will not understand, like calcium storage or etc. But we are not understanding about that. We are just understanding about the health of the mitochondria. So in this way, the mitochondria basically accept the pyruvate. Remember, in this way, whenever the glucose will enter into the cell, it will convert into the pyruvate, is known as the glycolysis. In the case of glycolysis, ATP and NADH will produce, but minor quantity, not more. So in this way, after the pyruvate will enter into the mitochondria, go into the Krebs cycle, and to produce NADH and FADH2. So NADH is important for the electron transport chain, and in this way the NADH will provide the proton pump out while the electron will flow into the mitochondria. Remember, during the flow of the electron in the mitochondria will leak out that electron, and leaking out during the electron transport chain will lead to combine with the oxygen, or the hydroxyl group will lead to become a reactive oxygen species. This is known as the oxidative stress of the mitochondria, and this stress is very harmful, and with the passage of time this oxygen will lead to increase reactive oxygen species, lead to cause aging, muscle fatigue, a lot more things. But we can correct that mitochondria with the different strategy, like the antioxidant. The antioxidant is important for the normal function of the mitochondria and decrease the reactive oxygen species, which are released from the mitochondria. In this way, the oxidative stress of the mitochondria can decrease due to the vitamin and antioxidant. Vitamin B2 is very important coenzyme, work for the Krebs cycle and the metabolism of the mitochondria. So in this way, I will recommend the vitamin B2. On the other hand, the coenzyme Q10, which that is also important for antioxidant property. So you can eat that through green vegetable. In this way, the magnesium and potassium is also important, and calcium, but this is the different topic we will understand in the next video. And this is, we are just understanding all this aspect, and in this way basically the mitochondrial reactive oxygen species decreasing mechanism will lead to promote the health of the mitochondria. So on the other hand, the aerobic exercise is very important, because this is the number two things And number one thing is that you can get the healthy food with the rich amount of vitamin and antioxidant, which that is important for the health of the mitochondria, because the mitochondria continuously produce reactive oxygen species should be inhibited. And the second one is the aerobic respiration. Why the anaerobic respiration is not efficient for the mitochondria, and why the aerobic respiration and aerobic exercise is very important, because the oxygen is the requirement of the mitochondria for normal production of the ATP through electron transport chain. If you will go into the anaerobic respiration, so the mitochondria will work not efficiently and electron transport chain will damage, and in this way the production of more reactive oxygen species. In this way the requirement of the oxygen should be more and the aerobic respiration is too much important, and in this way the reactive oxygen species will decrease. On the other hand, the mitochondria will not produce aerobically too much if energy, if ATP. So the deficiency of ATP during the aerobic respiration will lead to trigger the PGC1 alpha. This PGC1 alpha will bind with the several transcription factor, lead to activate the TFAM. This TFAM is basically lead to biogenesis of the mitochondria. So remember, the exercise will trigger the mitochondrial biogenesis due to the PGC1 alpha. Due to the deficiency of the ATP, our basically is the ATP, our ATP ratio will be decreased, will lead to activate the PGC1 alpha. When activate the PGC1 alpha, basically will lead to biogenesis of the mitochondria. The PGC1 alpha also triggered due to the starvation mode. So the fasting is very important and crucial for the health of the mitochondria for long run. And in this way the mitochondria, if the damage and the electron transport chain of the mitochondria will damage, will lead to more and more ATP produced from the anaerobically from glycolysis and lactic acid formation, ancient fermentation enhancement. On the other hand, the glutamine, which that also produce the ATP via aerobic respiration or ancient fermentation. In this case, the mitochondria survive due to the a lot of ATP, and we can provide the glucose too much, and in this way you can not inhibit the damaged mitochondria, and in this way the more production of the ATP from the anaerobic respiration will lead to survive of the mitochondria due to the PGC1 alpha inhibit, because the mitochondria produce more ATP from the glutamine metabolism. On the other hand, the glycolysis also produce more ATP. In this way the glycolysis also synthesis of that protein part. In this case, basically is the hypoxic condition will occur. Hypoxic condition occur in the cell is known as the tumorigenesis process will trigger. Why? Because the mitochondria is not working. It means the damage of the mitochondria will lead to not allow the oxygen. In this way, the hypoxic condition will prefer the more and more production of ATP part, the proliferation and the activation of the cell will lead to replicate more, because more energy part HIF1 alpha will lead to activate due to the hypoxic condition, because the hypoxia will trigger the HIF1 alpha, hypoxic inducible factor 1 alpha. Anyhow, in this way the cancer can be triggered due to the HIF1 alpha will inhibit the PGC1 alpha, and in this way the biogenesis of mitochondria will be inhibited. So how to correct this problem? It is known as the Warburg effect. So how to correct that? You can intake the fatty acid containing omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid and ketogenic diet, but decrease or cut the carbohydrate. When you will not intake the carbohydrate, it means the glucose metabolism will not occur, and in this the glycolysis will be decreased. On the other hand, when glycolysis will decrease, So the damaged mitochondria will not prefer the free fatty acid and fat beta oxidation, because the beta oxidation requires the oxygen. So aerobic respiration will occur. But in this way, the damaged mitochondrial cell, which that basically autophagy, and in this way the cell will deprive, and in this way the cell death occur. It's known as the apoptosis. And in this way the healthy cell will prefer more and more beta oxidation and use the fat to produce more ATP. And in this way the healthy cell will maintain while the unhealthy cell will delete from your body. In this way the cancer progression will inhibit. If you will not work and intake more and more glucose, so in this way you can cause a cancer progression. Even this is known as the metabolic therapy for the cancer inhibition. So that is why the healthy mitochondria require the exercise aerobically, while on the other hand the minor stress like fasting is important for the biogenesis of the mitochondria due to the activation of the PGC1 alpha. On the other hand, the mitochondria also required for healthy metabolism the electron transport chain. If the electron transport chain not work, so that mitochondria is useless. In this way it will be apoptosed, and in this way the whole cell will be recycled. So I hope you make sense about that. Exercise, and on the other hand the fasting, and the antioxidant containing food like the green vegetable, and the CoQ10 enzyme, and the vitamin B2, which that is important for the antioxidation of the mitochondria. And the biogenesis of the mitochondria requires the starvation, so the fasting is too much important. And on the other hand, the mitochondrial biogenesis requires the PGC1 alpha, and in this way the mTOR inhibition, while the other mTOR will inhibit. In this way the damaged mitochondrial cell will apoptose due to the starvation mode, while the survival gene SIRT1 gene like SIRT1 gene activate due to the starvation mode. And in this way the SIRT1 gene will check that if the cell is healthy, so survive, while if the cell is unhealthy, so the starvation mode will inhibit the mTOR, and in this way the SIRT1 gene will lead to apoptosis. So in this way basically the damaged mitochondrial cell basically will clear up. So in this way basically the mitochondria is very important organelle for production of the ATP, while continuously healthy mitochondria even produce more and more reactive oxygen species, which that will lead to oxidative stress. And in this way the oxidative stress cause many problems. So the stress relief is very important. So create the stress free environment for normal function of the mitochondria. So stress free environment creation, the starvation mode, and exercise, and healthy diet, which that contain omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid, even a ketogenic diet. So the ketogenic diet is too much important for the normal function of the mitochondria. For normal function of the mitochondria require the ketogenic diet, because the free fatty acid, which that is not useful for the cancer cell or damaged mitochondrial cell, which that damage the electron transport chain. Because the free fatty acid beta oxidation requires the oxygen, so in this way the oxygen will not present in the hypoxic environment of the cancer cell containing mitochondria, which that will lead to recycle. I hope you make sense about that. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. For this time, bye. I am also making the handwritten tutorial about the biomedical science. You can learn a lot of knowledge from that. If you like my video, so please share that. See you in the next video. For this time, bye. Allah Hafiz.